Let's just go ahead and get started then.
Can I get a hey now?
Hey.
So today I'm really fired up because we have a special guest today, and I'm also excited that it's not an in person because I as much as I'd love to have this person here in person, some people are too busy sometimes to make all these different things work, and I think this is um, I'm really interested to see how this podcast does because I would like to do more podcasts like this. I think on our end and on other people's end, it's just more convenient. Yes, we'd love to share times with people and take people to lunch and hang out and stuff like that, but it doesn't always work out that way. But for today, we have David Goggins on, and I'm really excited to have him on the show. I've been trying to hunt this guy down relentlessly for a long time, and unfortunately, I was not able to get him before he got on Joe Rogan, blew up, and now he's putting out a book. I wasn't able to get him before kind of all this started, but I was really inspired and motivated by some of the stories that I heard from him. And then once I found out that he was a former powerlifter, I was like, wow. I was like, oh, that's cool. Retired Navy SEAL. He wrote this book, which comes out December 4th, Can't Hurt Me. And if anybody knows about pain, it's David Goggins. He grew up with a really crazy and really, really rough childhood. But as he got older, he realized, look, man, I need to figure out a way to fit into society. And I'll let him tell the story when he gets on here. But basically, he was just tired of being a loser. He called himself a piece of shit, and he ended up seeing a thing on TV that got him fired up. I'll let him talk about that as well, but he basically saw some Navy SEALs training, and he thought, man, I'm just a real puss. Like, I can't get out of my own way. I make a lot of excuses, and I'm, completely unhappy with myself. At that time in his life, he was already a power lifter, and he was already lifting, and but he was just kind of a big fat guy, and he wasn't happy, and he wanted to make some changes. And so from that point on, he started eating like chicken and vegetables and running and doing all these things. And now he's got world records in pull-ups. He's got world records for the amount of marathons he's done. He's just an absolute savage. And if you're not following him on Instagram, then you're making a big mistake because this guy will motivate you to get your ass up off that couch. This guy will motivate you to get your butt moving, even on days that you don't want to move.
And I think a lot of people are going to realize that there's quite a bit of similarities between you and him as well. I'm pretty excited to dive into that.
Yeah, I'm really pumped for it. So let's give him a call and let's see what we got here.
Hello.
Hello, this is Mark Bell. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing great.
What's up, brother?
How's it going, David?
Going good, my man.
Yeah, really excited for this podcast today, and we're just gonna dive right in. The thing that I find really fascinating, I find a million things fascinating about your story, but one of the things I find really fascinating is that you were a powerlifter.
Oh, brother, I was big time powerlifter, man. Big time.
I love on the cover of this book that you have coming out December 4th, Can't Hurt Me. I love how there's that image behind you of what you used to be. A big fat powerlifter.
My life.
Yeah. What kind of lifts did you put up back in the day?
Well, I was a big 3-lift guy, squat, bench press, deadlift. And my bench press was the weakest. It was about a 445. But I was a big time squat and deadlift guy. I was pulling around 650, 660 and squatting about the same.
Nice. Those are some big numbers. So one thing that really stood out to me is, you have this moment, you're powerlifting, and a lot of powerlifters I know, they take great satisfaction in going to the gym and throwing around some heavy weights. They're not too upset about the way that they look. They're not upset about being fat. They're kind of content with it because it helps them to throw around those big weights. But you had a different realization. You were just watching TV one day and you saw some Navy SEALs, and that kind of motivated you, but it made you also think that you were a piece of shit. What was the driving thing behind that? Like, how did you feel that way about yourself when you were, seemed like you were lifting, seemed like you're fairly healthy. So like, what was the driving force behind that?
Well, the big thing that got me lifting was my self-esteem was real low. I was, so I hid behind that big body. So I was 175 pounds before I became that 300-pound guy. And the reason why I became big was to hide my real, soft, insecure, fearful of everything self. And being a large individual, it scared people away from the real soft David Goggins inside. So I built this humongous exterior to keep away the enemy because my mindset wasn't what it is now. So when you know these things about yourself and you know that you're hiding from certain things and you know why you became big. I didn't become big for the love of the sport. It wasn't like, what, I just want to be some jacked up cat, man, walk around, eat fucking, 10,000 calories a day, bring around my, 8 gallons of fucking water to the gym, sit down with my damn smelling salts and just get the fuck after it. I love that part, but it was hiding a lot of shit going on in my life, in my personal life. And so that big guy became my armor, became my shield, so people wouldn't pick on me anymore, and they'd be scared because I would, just either just beat the fuck out of them or just eat them, whatever the fuck came first. So when I'm sitting there watching that TV show, I was there alone, and it made me think a lot about, you can lie to everybody, but you can't lie to yourself. Mm. So it was extremely hard for me to sit there and not feel something. When I saw these guys going through that training and whatnot, I was afraid of the water, afraid of a lot of different things. And I saw these guys going through that training. And I was like, you know what? I have to one day start to face myself. I can no longer hide behind this 300-pound body that I built, because the inside that body was a very weak individual that I had to start overcoming, had to start facing. So that's kind of how it all started.
You mentioned quite a bit about pain and being scared. It kind of seems like to me, maybe early in your life, you built up that exterior so that people, couldn't get close, couldn't hurt you. You've been hurt before in your life, had a rough upbringing. But it seemed like almost from all the stuff I've seen of yours with the running and changing your life around and getting a lot better habits, waking up early in the morning, eating better, just all these disciplines, it almost seems like so much of this is like your own personal development mixed in with just a lot of like education. Now, what you're doing is physical, but it looked like it's like attacking the mind in a totally different way. You were scared to really get into some of these things that you were afraid of, get into some of these things that you were scared of. Did you at one point just decide to lean into all that? Were you like, you know what? This is where the magic is. This is where the gold is. I just need to lean into that shit.
It kind of happened that way. Basically, I had a list in my head. We all have this list in our head, this magical list of all this shit that we don't want to even do because it scares it scares the crap out of us, or it makes us feel like we're not good enough. We all have the list. We all have it. So I had a humongous list of insecurities and crap, being called nigger growing up, and my dad beating the hell out of me and having learning disabilities, stuttering, all kind of shit. Growing up, we lived in a $7 a month place for a long time. I had all kind of crap going through. My soon-to-be stepdad got murdered. I had all kind of just demons that just made me just afraid of everything. And I designed this program myself. When I realized I had this voice, we all had this voice in our head, whether you believe in God or whatever the hell you believe in or don't believe in, whether you believe in yourself. There's always this voice in our head telling us different things. And the voice in my head, it kept on calling me like, you're just a pussy, man. You are a big fucking pussy, man. You're scared of all this shit over here. You're scared of this big laundry list of stuff, man, because your dad beat you and this happened and this happened. All these things that happened in my life, I wasn't facing them. Even though I didn't cause a lot of them, they're mine to own now. Now, and the one thing that I really realized was for me to become a tough guy, and that's what I wanted to be, I saw myself as a very weak man. And for me to be hard and be tough, I had to start going over to that list, that scary list, to start facing that, because I knew over there I was going to find a whole new person. Because if I kept on doing the things that made me feel comfortable, I was going to continue being that same person I always was, the lying, insecure, fearful person living in this nice, comfortable life of mine. So I just designed a very uncomfortable world for David Goggins. And in that world, I found a whole new different, that's where I created Goggins. So there's David Goggins and there's Goggins.
Mhm.
I created Goggins in that fucking meat eater world over there of mine.
Yeah, it's really, in your book, you have this exercise basically for people to do at the end of each chapter. And one of the things that I found really interesting was that you would write your goals on a mirror. And I did that my entire powerlifting career. So when I saw that, I was like, oh my God. And then the learning disability, I'm in the same boat when it came to that. I spent the beginning half of my life thinking I was stupid. I bought into it. I was like, man, maybe they're right. Maybe I am dumb. And then even as I progressed and became fairly successful in terms of what I was able to lift in powerlifting, I still kind of thought I was dumb. I still didn't think I was worth enough to like coach people. I even had an idea and a concept which now has given me a lot of financial freedom, which is a product called Slingshot. I even had that idea for a long time, but I didn't pull the trigger on it because I was scared. I didn't know. I was like, how am I going to get this made? Like, I'm dumb. I'm not a business person. And so I kind of fished around and I talked to some different companies. They all thought it was a bad idea. And eventually I bought into that too. I was like, yeah, it is a bad idea. It probably is a bad idea. I'm dumb. Like, why would it be a good idea? And then my oldest brother, almost 10 years ago to this day, passed away. My oldest brother, Mike, he had drug and alcohol addictions. And he kind of sounds like he dealt with a lot of things that you dealt with at a point where he didn't feel like he had much self-worth. But at that point, I realized life was short, man. Life is short, and I better start attacking some of these stupid things that I'm scared of. I don't even really know how scared I am of them because I never actually even really tried. I just am petrified or terrified of them, and I never even really put any effort in it. How do I know what it looks like for me to do business if I never even tried it? And that was a point that I was at. But once my brother passed, it kind of flipped a switch, and I started setting goals, and I started doing things like you mentioned, writing your goals on the mirror.
Well, yeah, it helped me out a lot, man. And I started with very small goals. It wasn't like I went out there and, I started out real big and I realized that the big goals were just crushing me, because they weren't happening fast enough. And I had to start making big things very small. And I had to take a lot of pride and a lot of satisfaction from the fact that, I had to lose 106 pounds in like less than 3 months.
Wow.
Which was an impossible task for anybody to do. So instead of looking at 106 pounds, man, I was happy to lose a pound. I was happy to run a quarter mile because you know how it is as a power lifter, man. You're not running anywhere.
Yeah.
You're not. I mean, for me, when I was a power lifter, man, I was so crazy about calorie content and losing calories that I hated even walking to the refrigerator. I didn't want to lose any calories because I knew losing calories meant losing strength. So I was a freak about all that stuff, man. So I had to totally flip my mindset about all that stuff and just find very small goals and start achieving them, being proud of myself through those small goals that I accomplished.
With a lot of people are listening to this right now, and a lot of people probably feel they're not worth a shit. They probably feel like crap about themselves. What is something that you're able to share with people that can help flip a switch, or is there anything? Or do they just need to come to their own realization? They need to hit bottom. They need to go through some shit first in order to get there. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, what's funny, man, is that I'm not speaking for every big guy by any means, but I was once the big man. And I realized a lot of us big guys, man, we got some serious demons. I hung around big guys and we'd all break down and we started talking about our personal lives and how fucked up we all are. And, hey, why did you become big, man? We all had almost a similar story of insecurities.
Yeah.
And walking around in the airport looking like a gargantuan, man, people look at you differently and you get a little more self-esteem. So I'm going to be talking to a few of us out there when I say this, man. The biggest thing in life that you have to do is you have to be proud of yourself. You have to start developing that personal self-esteem. And it has to be something that it's an internal thing. And it has to come from a lot of hard work and dedication. And you really have to I call it like right now, I see your headphones on your head. I walk around life with so-called headphones on my head, man. I don't, really wear them, obviously, but I just have these earmuffs on that I silence out the noise. I silence out the judgment. I silence out the self-doubt. I silence out all the naysayers. And, those people get in our head. And then we start getting in our head. And the most important conversation we'll ever have is when we have with ourselves. And like you were saying to yourself, man, I'm dumb, I'm this, I'm that. I was the same fucking way. So if that's what you're constantly repeating to yourself in that internal conversation, man, that's who you're going to be. And my biggest thing for these people who are out here is, honestly, man, you have to start callousing over that victim's mentality. You have to start building this mental armor that no matter what anybody says, that you can be in a room full of 1 million people and all million can be like against you and calling you names and whatever. And you be like this, you know what? Roger that. You can go fuck yourself, man. 'Cause I know exactly where I'm going. I know exactly what I'm doing. And that's the kind of self-esteem you have to build in yourself, man, in this kind of society today, because it's tough. It's tough out here nowadays.
When you talk about callousing your mind, I love that analogy. For the lifters out there, they should be able to grab onto that pretty good. You go to pick up a 700-pound deadlift and you haven't deadlifted much before, your hands are going to tear and it's going to feel awful. But if you've been deadlifting over a period of time, you probably have some calluses on your hand. Your hand is used to it, and it may be painful, but it'll be less painful. Have you been able to lower the pain that you go through every time you go to do something that might be scary? Like, I know now, like, you're a public speaker, like, and getting up in front of people when you used to be this fat guy that didn't feel very good about himself, that's got to be really hard. But have you lowered, have things been less scary, or are you still as scared as you were when you were young?
Oh, no, man. Things are less scary for sure. So when I was in 6th grade, we had a play, and I used to stutter real bad, man. I mean, like, I couldn't say a fucking word without just going off on my stuttering, man. So whenever I'm in front of people, I tell them that I literally walked off a stage because I couldn't get the damn. I had one line to say in 6th grade, one line, and I literally walked off stage because I couldn't say the line. So I get in front of these people, and I speak for an hour and a half, and I look at them before I start speaking, and I say, "My God, this is pretty amazing." When I was a young kid, I couldn't even stand in front of 2 people to speak in front of them. And where I'm getting at is, I found great power in facing my fears. And by doing that, it gave me such confidence to stand in front of a lot of people, because I now know what a lot of us are going through so much shit, but I had the guts to face it. I had the guts to tell people how messed up I am, how messed up I was, the struggles I'm going through. Very few people have that in them to do that on a public platform, and that gives you a lot of confidence. When you finally get to the point when you really mean, I don't give a fuck what you think about me, there's a lot of power in the fact that you can stand up in front of people and look at them, and if you mess up or if you start stuttering, you don't care. And to have that kind of mindset, I'm finally there now through facing myself. So yeah, all those things, I don't fear too much anymore, man. And if I do, I attack it.
You want to reach a lot of people and you have an awesome message. There's going to be some people, right, that are still going to hate your guts. They're still going to be, maybe they're annoyed. Like, oh man, this fucking guy's running again. Like, I got to see this shit again. Maybe they're down in their life and they just can't stand it anymore. They're mad because you cuss too much, or whatever it is their opinion of you is, right? Now, there's a side of you that says, F you, I'm not on board with that. But there must be another side of you also thinking, man, I still wish I could help that person. I still wish I could reach them because I know that they could really use this information. What do you kind of think about some of those people who are like, man, this is just a bunch of motivational bullshit, man. Why do I got to listen to this?
Well, you know what? I understand that, because that was once my attitude towards everybody in life.
Right.
I had a poopy pants, poor mentality. Whenever I saw somebody getting after it, it made me feel like crap. So the first thing I did was I judged you. Oh, he must be on steroids. He must be cheating. He must be doing this. Or he's just an asshole. I immediately put you in a box because I wasn't where you're at. So once again, my low self-esteem kicked up. So I know where a lot of it comes from. But if people were to take time to just listen to my story and realize where I come from, just give me, like, for instance, one big thing that changed my life was I was watching Rocky when I was real young. And Rocky 1, round 14, changed a lot of my mindset. When, as we all know it, we all should know it. If not, get off your ass and watch the daggone movie.
Hell yeah.
But Apollo knocks Rocky down in the 14th round, is beating the hell out of him. And even Rocky's Mickey, his trainer, Rocky's trainer, saying, stay down. Apollo Creed turns around, hands in the air. He's all happy, thinks he beat this gladiator, finally, because the guy just kept on coming after him. As Apollo's turned around, I think the count's like 6 or 7. He sees this guy getting up. He's stumbling in the corner, but he's getting up. The referee's looking at him. He kind of pushes the referee away, and he gets his gloves and motions to, motions to Apollo to come over here. Come on, I got some more for you. And when I saw that, it was only about 2 minutes and 13 seconds. And that one scene said, that's exactly what I want everybody in my life to look like. If you look at Apollo Creed's face, it looks like Rocky took his soul, took everything from him. And I was like, I don't care about beating you. I don't care about winning trophies. I don't care about winning anything. All I want to do is go the distance. So if people were give me just a little bit of time, give me that 2 minutes and 13 seconds, look through all the cuss words, look through all the bullcrap, look through all the running, look through all that stuff, and just find there's a lot of messages in there. And you may find 2 minutes and 13 seconds in that big, long message. So just trust me, there's a lot more than meets the eye here with me.
Whether you like it or not, you and I just became best friends.
Roger that.
Oh, man, I love that movie. And I know exactly the scene you're talking about. My brother and I have watched Rocky millions of times. I'm sure many fans have watched it many times over. But it's the scene before he even goes to fight, when he just says, all I want to do is prove I'm not just another bum from the neighborhood. To me, that scene like makes the whole movie what it is. Right. He just wants to prove he's not a bum. He's not even trying to be great. He just wants to prove I'm not a bum. I'm not a dirtbag. I'm not worthless. And then that scene that you're talking about, Apollo puts both his gloves down by his side and just like shakes his head like, fuck, man, like you're coming for more. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Who are you? Who made you?
Yeah.
Where do you come from? Yeah, man. There's so much of a message in that, in both of those scenes. You know, like the scene you're talking about, you know, when he gets up out of bed on the couch and walks to the, he walks to the ring. Right. And he's in the ring and he says, hey, these shorts are wrong. And then he walks back and sleeps in the bed with Adrian, and he says what you're saying now, man. And he just wants to go the distance with this guy, man. There's a lot of power in all that stuff.
So I guess that was a real mistake in the movie. I don't know if you're aware of that, but I'm a huge Rocky fan. So I guess that was an actual mistake. When they ran that off, they actually messed up and didn't get his trunks right in the thing. And so they put that scene in there later because they screwed up that huge giant printout and didn't have any more money to do anything else.
Yeah, I watched the making of that too, man. I'm a Rocky geek.
Yeah, the what you call it, the motion camera, whatever kind of came from that, the still camera, steady cam rather.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a great message for people, and that's something I try to share with people as I have this message of be made of something different. Don't be like everybody else. Don't buy into the bullshit people are telling you. Eat different, think different, train different, be a little different. Why not be a little different? Why not take some risks? You were eating, as we were talking in the beginning here. What's your food like?
Well, I'm you know what? I still almost eat like a bodybuilder type of guy still, even though I'm a big time runner now, but I'm still big into the gym. Cause I never wanted to be that guy who, like I used to call those guys when I was I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. When you're a lifter and you see those, I used to call them running geeks.
Yeah.
I would see running geeks on the treadmill all skinny and stuff, man. You can't probably lift your body weight. That was our conversation. I I gained a lot of respect for those running geeks,
Right.
but I want to find that happy medium. So I'm really big into the protein content. I'm still a big meat eater. What I was just doing was I was taking in my essential amino acids. I've taken a lot of amino acids, my essential amino acids, and I eat a lot of acai, stuff like that, man, with protein in there. So I'm just really big on getting my protein content in, and a lot of eggs, still eggs, bacon, steak.
Eating
So I'm
five or
still
six
really big
times,
on it.
eating like 5 or 6
Huh?
times a day.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm eating as much as possible. Um, I eat very light during the morning time, and I kind of almost fast
Hmm.
during the morning time. And then, past like 11, 12 o'clock, man, it's like game on. And I kind of open up the floodgates.
That's because you're up so early. What do you think about, a lot of people will say, sleep is this, really, really important thing. This is stupid to wake up at 4 o'clock and exercise and stuff. But you seem to have made that a habit where you're up early, you're training early. What has that done for you?
It's done a lot for me mentally, but I really believe that you have to get that sleep, man. I'm not saying you got to get it every single day of your life, but there has to be times, man, where you really rest your body. So I rest my body a lot at nighttime. So I'm really big into doing stretching. So I do these stretches. It's almost like a yoga type of stretch that I've kind of made up myself.
Mm.
I got some tips from different people in the stretching. I kind of made up my own personal routine. So every night for 2 hours a night, I really believe in prehab and rehab, resting the body and getting the body ready. So even though there's sometimes I don't sleep that much, I'm really into the body and the mind totally calming down and getting reset for the next morning so you can attack the day properly.
So you basically stretch before you go to bed type of thing?
Yep, every single night. Haven't missed. Well, I missed 2 days in the last 5 years, 5.5 years.
And if you don't have the opportunity to train the next morning, what happens? Does that throw you off?
That never happens.
Basically, every
I,
morning
uh,
that you wake up, you get in some sort of training.
yeah, I will guarantee you one thing about me is that we all talk about time. We don't have enough of it. That's bullshit. What you don't do right is you don't prioritize what is important in your life. And for me training and the things that I do on a daily basis, that's how I start to build my armor. My mental armor starts to get built up by doing these things that are uncomfortable for me. So I still hate running. I was a big guy twice in my life because I like to gravitate towards the heavy lifting and also big time eating. I love to eat. I love to lift. So running is very uncomfortable for me. So I do that every single morning. Every time I get up, I will get it in no matter what happens during the day. I will put off meetings. I will put off whatever. I will escape. I will miss a meal. I will do whatever it takes to get that exercise in.
That's your time to yourself, and it's not negotiable for anybody else to take any of that time.
That's right. That's right.
What have you? So that must have been something you learned over a period of time, and you must have learned over a period of time to eat better and these things. Were these transitions hard, or did they come pretty easy? Like, did you kind of just cut to a Rocky montage and you're off to the races with everything?
You know what? It was pretty hard for me at first because, like I said, man, being a power lifter, you can kind of get away with a lot of not so much dieting and not looking at calorie content. And powerlifting was very easy for me. A very tough sport, very tough sport. But when you're resting 5 minutes at a time, sometimes 10 minutes at a time, I got a lot of break time. So my mind got time to rest. Going out there running for 200 miles at a time for 39 hours and doing 4,030 pull-ups. Like, I did 4,030 pull-ups in 17 hours. You don't have much time to rest.
Right.
And so the discipline of all that, of the structure of the endurance type of sports that I do now. And there's a lot of structure in powerlifting. Do not get me wrong. God, dog, there's a lot of structure there. It's just, it takes so much mental focus to be locked in for 39 hours and to be locked in for 17 hours hitting the pull-up bar every single minute for 17 hours. You know, the amount of mental focus it takes for that. And that started very small for me. And it's kind of grew from there. So even my diet, I slowly started cutting out this, cut out that. But to lose 106 pounds, I had to go cold turkey.
Yeah.
You know, I went from 297 to 191 in less than 3 months. So there wasn't any like, oh, let me just cut out this cheeseburger. No, it was like, I'm cutting out donuts, fries, cheeseburgers, all that stuff, man. It was like, okay, grilled chicken breast, here we come. And that was pretty much the diet. So, but I definitely, recommend people, you got to start slow or you'll definitely backtrack real quick.
The transition into that was it just like, hey, I'm just going to eat a lot less calories, period? Like, so I'm going to have chicken breast and maybe vegetables or something like that. Was that the diet?
Yeah. So basically I went to the recruiter's office and he said, you need to lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months. And I was like, oh shit. And I was familiar with dieting just by being a lifter and getting into sampling powerlifting and sampling bodybuilding. So I knew how to diet correctly. It just sucked doing it. And I hated cardiovascular activities, hated them. So I'm like, God, I have to do all this stuff combined. So I basically found the foods that would almost trick my mind into thinking I'm eating a lot, but they have little calories in them.
Got it.
So I was able to eat a whole bunch of green vegetables that, they have no calories, but you're thinking you're eating a shit ton of food and you're not. Grilled chicken breast, you have 110 calories in a grilled chicken breast or whatever the hell it was. And I was eating these small grilled chicken breasts thinking, my God, man, I'm full. And I wasn't. I was starving. So when a 297-pound man is eating these little meals throughout the day, man, and you're used to consuming, like my breakfast, when I would drive home in the Ecolab truck, I spray for cockroaches, I would drive home and have a box of mini chocolate donuts and a chocolate milkshake for my 45-minute commute home at 7 o'clock in the morning. When I would get home, I would drive to my mom's house 2 miles away, and I know you're familiar with them. It's those cinnamon rolls from Pillsbury.
Hell yeah.
They're great, man, my God. And then I have a half pound of bacon, and I'd have 8 to 9 hard, eggs scrambled hard and dry. And then I would chase it down with a bowl of Fruity Pebbles or Fruit Loops. And that was my breakfast. And you go from eating that kind of breakfast to like, I'm going to have a banana.
Right.
Those calories come off you pretty quick, man.
Did you kill off a lot of those cravings and a lot of the, you being hungry and stuff like that over a period of time?
You know what happened? When I started to work out like I was, I became obsessive about moving. So even to watch TV, I bought this cheap ass stationary bike that, like the calorie count on it was all wrong. And I don't even think it kept calories on it. It's like this makeshift crap that you put together yourself from Walmart. But I sat there and I would ride this bike and I became obsessed with doing cardiovascular activities. And that was literally, the more weight I lost, it was coming off so fast that I literally had no cravings at all because I was living off of this high of, my God, man, you have lost 50 daggone pounds in almost a month. And I'm like, so I was really gaining a lot of strength from the hard work I was putting in. And I was battling all these demons along the way that me being in a victorious mindset was really fighting all those different cravings, man. So I didn't have many of them.
In this quest to, fight off all these things you're scared of, did it ever cost you too much? Did it ever cost you a relationship or ever cost you something because you're so obsessed and so excited to lose weight or to kick the day in the balls? Does it ever cost you anything?
Yeah, I think it, and don't take this wrong. People out there will think I'm not happy. And I am happy because this is my lifestyle. This is what I want to do. But trying to find your best self, you become unbalanced. And people always talk about this mythical creature called the balance.
Right.
You want to be balanced. And I think balance is a bunch of bullshit. If you want to be great at anything, the Michael Jordans, the Tiger Woods, the the greatest people of all times, the daggone, Kazmaiers, all these guys. You talk to these guys, you talk to Roger Federer. They, on the surface, they have a life. But I guarantee you drill down deep, man, they are so off fucking balance. Their life doesn't eat, you get them on a teeter-totter, you're not going to come down. It's just not balanced, and that's how you become great. And that's just my mindset. So you lose a lot of your life, but I made a choice. It is a choice to become unbalanced. And the people in my life realize that. And the people that love me realize, you know what? This is who I'm with. This is who he is. This is who he wants to be. And so yeah, you do lose a lot, but you gain a lot also. So it's what you want.
I think what you said about it being a choice, I think that's probably the most important thing. Then it's easier for everybody else to understand. Like if you just didn't have balance because you're unorganized and you're not making time for stuff because you're getting drunk and you're sleeping in late and you don't have time for your significant other and you don't have time for this and that, well, that's kind of a different story, right? But if you're making a conscious choice, look, you know what? I'm not that happy with my life. I want to go after all these goals. That's what's going to make me feel good. And that's where, the significant others and your friends and the people around you, that's where they need to get behind you and say, yeah, man, go for it. Like, I'm supporting it. Like, you want to lose weight? Fucking go for it, man.
Exactly. And I had I've never had a lot of people in my life. It's been my mom and, it's my fiance right now. So I've never had a lot of people in my life, and I keep my circle real small. Noise distracts growth. And the more people you have in your life, the noisier your life gets, the more distractions you get in your life, the more shit you start to hear.
Right.
Growth comes from a very quiet place in your mind. And when you can organize it, you have to organize your mind. And when you have so much noise and distraction, there's no organization in that. So I believe in keeping my circle real small, and those people know who, they know what they get from me. And I know what I get from them, and it keeps me going forward, never stagnant.
What would you say to somebody who doesn't have anybody that you mentioned your mom being there for you the entire time? There's probably some people out there listening, man, they don't have any help from anybody.
Well, I will say this, man. I had her in my life. My mom, great person, but my dad beat the hell out of her, and it beat the hell out of me. And when you have that done to you, you lose a part of yourself. So my mom was there, but a lot of times she wasn't. So I know how it is to be alone. You have to be able to flip alone on top of its head. I gained a lot of strength from having a sewer mentality. And what a sewer mentality is how many people can make it out of the sewer alone with no coach, no trainer, no one to guide you, no one to mentor you, just having a straight up killer mentality, having a warrior mindset, having a round 14, I'm going to get the fuck up mindset. And you have to learn to flip that loneliness into total power. And that's what I was able to do. I was able to you know what? If I can come out of this fucking sewer that I'm living in my mind, if I can overcome all these things by myself, how much strength will I gain from this? And you gain a shit ton of strength from it. And so that's how I looked at my life growing up. I stopped looking at all the bad things that life handed me. And I started looking more as the ultimate training ground for where I want to go.
To build this strength in your mind, do you think it had to be physical?
Yes, I really do.
You think for everybody?
Really yeah, I think almost for everybody. The mental aspect, everything in my life. So I had a learning disability, as I talked about. My physical gave me the self-discipline, and that literally has carried me over to I can sit down and study what may take some people an hour to study. I have to sit down for maybe 10 hours to learn the same fucking shit. And that's very frustrating. So I always talk about running and swimming and all the stuff I did in the military and pull-up records and powerlifting, all these physical feats. Some of the hardest shit I do in my life is just learning. But I got that self-discipline from waking up at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning to go out in the cold weather, to get my run in, to get my lift in, to get my swim in, to do those things, it totally transfers over to my learning. It's that self-discipline you gain from feeling good about yourself by overcoming yourself on the physical aspect of life. And it transfers to your whole work ethic and everything you do comes from the physical aspect of life. I truly believe that. And the physical and the mental are all one. They are all tied into one, man.
Right. You can't learn how to dig deep and how to, overcome your toes getting all jacked up from running 200 miles. You can't learn these things without really going out and doing it. There's got to be some sort of physical. That's something I talk about often here on this show is, when you're getting underneath those weights, you get underneath, a PR, whatever the weight is for you. That's a new challenge for you. It's scary to you. You're not sure if you're going to tear something. You don't know what's going to happen. But by you exploring that, by you going through that, you got stronger coming out the other end. And just with what we do, you happen to actually physically get stronger. But there's things like running, there's rock climbing, there's all these different things you can explore. But I agree 100%. It has to be physical. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to grow and expand the way that you should. Last question is, and you've said that, you kind of built everything off of this. It seems like they had to find something to be proud of. And it's important for people to grab a hold of that concept. Like, you better be proud of something. You got to work towards something. And so even if you feel like you're not a whole lot of anything, you got to be doing something productive. You got to be proud of something. For you, what are you the most proud of? What are you the most proud of that you've done so far?
So that book you have right now on your desk, the book Can't Hurt Me. I'm going to tell you right now, man, I got an offer for $300,000 for that book. And I turned it down. And the reason why I turned it down, I don't care about trophies. I don't care about money. I don't care about powerlifting feats that I did or running feats or anything I did. What I care about are the words in that book. My biggest trophy is the fact that I overcame myself. I am the most proud. I literally can die right now on this podcast at 43 years old. I know the real truth about David Goggins. And I had so many Mount Everests in front of me. And whenever I climb one, fucking another one would pop up. Another one would pop up. And then I fall down a couple of them. And there wasn't anybody there to say, hey, David, I'm going to help you up, man. It was just me and me alone. And this voice in my head saying, we're not going to stop today. I am the most proud of the fucked up cards I got, the fucked up hand I got when I was born. And I'm so glad I got that hand because it taught me so much about the man I am today and what is possible for a human being. You don't need to have a great family. You don't need to be smart. If you have work ethic and you are willing to outwork the motherfucker beside you, you can do absolutely whatever you want in life. And that is my biggest treasure that I have is what I have up here in my brain. What I've found out, what I learned through this journey, man, it's not for sale. It took too much grind, man. It took too much grit to develop this mind and to have this power I have now. I'm not a theorist. I don't read a book about how a motherfucker used his mind. I'm a practitioner. I put myself in hell repeatedly, like a sword. How you make it? You put in the fire, you beat the shit out of it, and that's what I did with my mind, man. So that's what I take the most pride of, right there.
That's awesome, man, and thank you so much. The book, it was awesome. Corresponding back and forth with your team, and they were like, "Hey, you got to read the book, otherwise he won't come on your show." And I'm like, "Oh shit, I've never read a book in my life." I'm like, "God damn." Putting me on the spot, but I agree with a lot of what you're saying, and I have been mesmerized by a lot of the stuff that I've seen on YouTube of you. So I really appreciate you coming on the show today. You have any parting thoughts? Anything you want to plug people towards? I know the book's coming out December 4th. You want to tell people where they could pick it up or where they can find you?
Yeah, man. So you can get the book Can't Hurt Me. You can get it on Amazon. We have an audio book coming out. We have a paperback. We have an ebook and also the hardcover there. All this on Amazon. Since I self-published, that's about the only place you can get it pretty much is Amazon. You can find it in Barnes & Noble. That being said, also, you can find me at Instagram, at David Goggins for Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that shit. All I talk about on all that social media is how to get better. It's not about look at my abs, look at me, it's about mindset. I'm always preaching mindset. And once you change your mindset, man, it's open-mindedness. You gotta be open-minded to the fact that you have the possibility of being a badass. Once you close the possibility down in your mind, it's never gonna happen. So keep your mind open to the possibility that you are a badass.
Awesome having you on the show, and I can't wait to someday meet you in person.
Hey, man, sounds good, man. Hey, I can tell you were a large man, so I can still lift some weight, brother.
Yeah, you got to come up here.
To the gym, man, get it on.
Yeah, where we film this from is Super Training Gym in West Sacramento. So sometime when you're in NorCal, we'll have you come in and throw down.
I love it. Hey, one question for you before I let you go.
Yeah, for sure.
How much do you lift? What are your lifts?
So I retired from powerlifting, but my best bench press, and these are equipped numbers. I'm sure you're familiar with the bench shirt and that kind of stuff. I did an 854-pound bench.
What the fuck did you say, man?
854-pound bench. Yep.
Dude, fuck you, man. I'm out of here. That's unbelievable. That is unbelievable. That's awesome.
1,080 squat.
Good God.
And a 766 deadlift.
People don't even know what you're talking about right now.
No, they got no clue, yeah.
They have no clue what kind of poundage. See, I have a fraction of an idea. All I can say, dude, is Merry Christmas. That's unbelievable. That is unbelievable.
Well, that's the reason why I ask you, what you lost in the process of, going for that. Because for me, there was just that mindset of, digging that deep is a dark and twisted place in some weird way. And I related to what you said earlier about how, sometimes people might not think you're happy. I think people might think that of me, too, because I'll accomplish something or do something. And like, man, he doesn't even seem like he cared that he just did that. But I do care. I recognize it. But I'm always on to the next one because it is about your mindset.
I love it, man. That's some Bill Kazmaier shit right there.
That's right.
God.
All right, my man. I'll catch you later.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you so much.
That's awesome.
Bye.
Later, brother.
Hell yeah. That was crazy, huh?
That was dope. I love his reaction to your bench press, though.
I know. We need to post that on Instagram.
Yeah, that definitely took the cake. Cake.
I think he's laughing at me because he did that for 5 reps.
It could have been, yeah, or he did, did some form of something that just oh, that's cute. Here's this.
Yeah, no, it was great because he with him being a powerlifter, he had he has the background. He's seen it before, and he understands. Jesus.
Yeah, it's like I said, so many similarities, dude.
Yeah.
Like the learning disability, Rocky being over 300 pounds.
I don't know if a lot of people have watched Rocky the way that he's talking about. I don't know if people have watched Rocky the way that I've broken Rocky down and analyzed the shit out of it. And that was as a kid. I mean, I haven't even really. I've watched it recently as well, but I haven't really gone down and broken some of the stuff down. But it's scene after scene of these magical and really potent moments where you're like, wow, that was fucking incredible. And they didn't even, I don't even know if they meant to do some of the stuff. Like when he talks about, he says to Adrian, he says, to you, it's Thanksgiving. To me, it's Thursday. We used to say that to my mom when we were kids. You
didn't even know why, though.
Without even knowing about Rocky necessarily, even though Rocky was out, obviously, because it came out when I was born. But even without that scene, my mom used to say, hey, look, it's Christmas Day. You boys aren't going to the gym. We're like, no, we're going to you. It's Christmas Day. To us, it's another bench day.
Yeah.
It's another day to get stronger. That's where we're going. And me and my brothers used to follow the snowplow to the gym. Cause I grew up in New York. And so we're waiting for them to plow the roads. There's like 6 inches of snow on the road. My mom's like, you guys aren't going anywhere. There's too much snow on the ground. Like, oh, well, as soon as that snow plow comes, which should be any minute now, we're going to follow right behind that son of a bitch and go right to the gym. And that's what we would do. We'd break her down.
That's dope. Another similarity between you two, like you call it putting points up on the scoreboard. He actually calls it a cookie jar.
Yeah.
Because it's like whenever you're doubting yourself or whatever, or whenever you accomplish something, that goes in your cookie jar. You do something else, that goes in your cookie jar. So that way, when somebody doubts you, you look back at your cookie jar and you're just like, wait, no, I'm a badass. Like I can fuck these guys. And so, but yours is putting up points on the scoreboard. And I'm just, when I'm checking out, like researching David, I'm just like, this is weird. Like it's fucking cool though.
Anyway, that's all the time we got. I'd love to sit here and chat forever, but we got other shit to do today. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Check out David Goggins' book. It'll be out. I'm not sure exactly when this episode will drop, but his book comes out December 4th. You heard him. He said you can get it on Amazon. Make sure you check out all the stuff the guy's got. The guy's got a lot to offer. And remember what he said about some of those people that might not like his rah-rah spirit. He said that he was in that position himself before. He understands that position. And I thought he had a really good perspective on that. And I think anybody that is maybe wasn't a fan of his before should open their mind up and realize all he's trying to do is to get you to toughen up your mind, callous your mind. I love that saying. I think that's something. I think there was stuff in that podcast right there that you can go back and you can listen to and you can listen to and you can listen to over and over again. And you can get a lot of quality from that podcast. I'd even suggest get out a pen. Get out a piece of paper and freaking write some stuff down. The stuff that David Goggins shared with us today can change your life. A lot of the stuff we talk about in this podcast can change your life for the better. That's all we're trying to do. Somebody may think this or that about me and the company and this and all these different things. We don't have any advertising on here. This thing is free. All we want you to do is tell other people about it if you enjoyed it. That's all I ask you to do. That's all I want you to do. But we're just trying to make people better, man, because it's fun. You know what happened today? Andrew ended up hitting some good benches today. He missed one. He came back and got it. Yesterday, he hit a PR deadlift. He deadlifted 300 pounds. He wanted to deadlift 300 pounds by the end of the year, but Christmas came a little early. Came about a month early, and he was able to hit a 300-pound deadlift. To me, that kind of shit feels good. Now, that's physical. I can physically see that in him, right? So it's really easy to judge. It's really easy. You can actually physically see that one week he did this amount of weight, and the next week he did that amount of weight. Not everything in life is going to be so visible that way. Not everything, you're not always going to be able to see the goal, and then the goal is crushed, and you're not always going to see things like that. But that is the goal. You do want to try to get better every day. And the way that you get better every day is being prepared. Try to be prepared for every day the best that you can. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. Strength is never weakness, weakness never strength. Bye.